Thank you all for being here. It's a really a pleasure for me to have you here. Yeah, it's my second conference where I'm speaking, so yeah, I have some emotions. Um, yeah, so thank you to the sponsors in the second place for granting me the access to this conference. We will talk about the anatomy of a complex bank card smishing attack exploiting Posta Romana's image. Basically, we will talk about how an attack could affect a critical infrastructure topic. That's the Romanian Postal Service. Complex because there are some let's say nice interesting engineering parts in this attack, which is unusual, at least from my experience in this kind of smishing, phishing attacks. Who am I? I'm Vlad Onetiu. I have some projects in the data science domain, cybersecurity cloud, some personal projects, multiple security researches that were written on my blog page, CYBOV. If you want to take a look, there are some nice reverse engineerings there, some pen testings that were done in my personal time, just from my, let's say, passion. I've put here some bullet points, maybe some questions, at least to get you into this story. How the incident prevailed in the media and on forums. Basically, it was mostly targeted in our country, so it was just on this critical infrastructure that was the Romanian Postal Service. I remember I've seen some people in the media that were complaining about losing their savings, their money, just crying in the television because they don't know what to do, and they went to the bank and just asked what's really about, and if the bank can do something, because this phishing attack, this smishing attack is targeting the cards, so the bank accounts of the victims. So yeah, the bank said, okay, you lost you lost your money. We maybe could do something, but we don't know where the transfers were made. From my knowledge, I think it was like a transfer spread it into some different countries, so it was very difficult to track. Also the attackers, also to track the money. And on forums, I've seen different posts, like on Reddit. People were complaining what to do about that SMS that was received by them, and if it's really something that they need to do, or is just a fake thing, just an attack on them. Why they choose the Romanian Postal Service is a very important question, because, like I've said, it's a critical infrastructure service. And my assumption is that they were targeting a certain group of people. So they weren't targeting, like, at least in our country, let's say the young people use the delivery systems, like the private ones, usually during the pandemic and after the pandemic. We order so many things, and we just maybe lose the track of them, and we don't know if we really received something, if we really ordered something, if we won something. But like I've said, I think they were targeting the maybe 50 years old plus people, because they don't have so much knowledge in this internet domain, and they don't know how to use different things, and to prevent an attack on them. So if I think the story behind this attack was most like it's more complex maybe than the engineering part. Of course, also the story and the engineering part are on the same balance and on the same track, but I think the story behind the attack is more important, because if the victim doesn't know how to respond at some basic questions like did I receive something, did I order something, have I won something, it means that the attack is already in their head. So it's just a matter of just typing some things, just giving them some personal details, and that's all. But the attack is already in their head, so I think 50% of the attack is already made for that victim. How I started to investigate, I received the SMS, because mostly it was an SMS sent to the victims with a URL, with a link that started the attack. I was in a weekend with some friends, just in the town, and I just received this SMS. Just as a quick thing, before this investigation, I also started to work on what I've seen on forums with for that link. But I've seen that the link was like one-time single shot, so it wasn't something to investigate after the victim clicked on that link. They used this kind of single shot domain and URL. So I was in town in a weekend with some friends, and I just received that message. I said to my friends, I need to investigate this. They knew about my passion about this story. So I just went home, started my personal computer, and just trying to do some things to understand what's the behavior of this attack. Started some tools, checked if there was like a malware or a ransomware or something like that, or it was just a typical smishing, phishing attack with a web page and with a flow. Like I've said, all started from an SMS. This is how it looked. It was from a private Romanian number. You can see up there. The text of the message is quite good. It doesn't have any flaws, let's say. It's in Romanian, so it's quite okay. The URL, it's like a short URL, so you cannot see what's after that link. And what you only can see is that it could be a link from the real Posta Romana, but yeah, it's not. So once you click on that link, you expect something. You expect to have a downloadable malware, ransomware, or just to be a typical phishing flow. So I started some tools, just checked firstly if there is something more in this, like I've said, with those downloadable things, ransomware, malware, but it wasn't the case. It was just a simple flow in the web, so like a web application website, if you can call it like this. You can see the URL up there. So they use the different kind of domains, extensions, just to be more closer to the real postal service in our country. The entire page is like very real to what we have for this service. I think it's one-on-one, one-at-one with the real one. They copied all of the things. The only thing that is different is what you can see in the center. That's with packet in transit. It means it will start a flow, a phishing flow, in which you will lose your personal details and in the end your bank card details. So starting the flow, I just checked a bit in my tools and also in the browser. I've seen that in the browser was much simpler to to see this source code. It was the first touch of this research paper, where I found that all of the code, all of their code was very obfuscated, random strings, um, random functions, random function names. It was very difficult to understand what's happening in the phishing flow. But there are some flaws in their code. Like you can see here, that's the slash address or continua or other Romanian words that cannot be like obfuscated, because you need to use them in the page. So there is the text of the page that you cannot obfuscate. You cannot put random strings there. You need to have the real words. So this is like the flow. Let's say the first flow of this attack, um, and the real words can be used to track the different parts of the attack. This is the first, let's say, interesting thing of the attack, where is a page with personal informations. You need is like a form. You need to enter your name, your full name, your address, telephone, email, and so on and so forth. Yeah, maybe you're thinking why they're asking me for the personal details, because it's a package that was sent to me. So maybe they already know my address. But again, this is a question that comes to your mind. So when this question comes to your mind, it means that the attack is already in your head. If you cannot respond with no, I think they don't need my address and my telephone number, because they have to already know it. Yeah, you will pass this attack. But if you have some questions in your head that are like, I don't know, maybe they don't have my details and I need to put them, you're already hooked into the attack. So I was thinking that after you will enter these details, like in a usual phishing attack, all of the details will be sent through an API call somewhere in the attacker's server. But there was something more in this one, a very unusual, let's say, for a phishing attack. Analyzing the code, the source code of that specific page, the address page, we can see here again the obfuscated code. It's very underscriptable, but there are some things in here that construct the form, and the most important one is that on update trigger that will that will trigger something in the background. It's not a validator. I was thinking, yeah, maybe you could enter something like a random string or something like that, and it will validate the form just to have a, I don't know, a thing that it's a valid form, or it's something real and it's not fake. But like I've said, the on update, it does something more in this specific case. Yeah, I don't know how many things you can see here, but yeah, this is a real demonstration of what that on update thing will do with the form. So in every moment when you press something or you give something to that input, that trigger will capture your string and will do something with that. The most important aspect, and why this attack is unusual and maybe more complex than the rest of ones I've experienced, is that they are using sockets. So they are somehow opening a door, opening a socket connection when the victim is on the flow. When the victim clicks on that link, a socket connection will open in the background. And every time the victim will enter something into a specific input, that string, that those letters, numbers will be sent through a C2 server or something like that. That's in the attacker side. You can see the payload in the right of the socket pooling part. Basically, it's the entire form until that moment, until you press something, put something into the input. The pooling mechanism, I've seen that it was also scheduled, and it was also triggered by that on update event thing. Another aspect was a call to a specific endpoint, that /API/save data, which was again sending that exact data to the attacker server. So basically, there were two different kind of things running in the background. So it was not just submitting the form and that's all. It was acting like a real keylogger inside that page. It tracked every movement that you did on that form. They were also saving the data in the local storage, like a backup mechanism, let's say, or a database storage system, and they were grabbing the key and putting the key on the request or on the pooling mechanism for the socket connection. So this was the, let's say, cherry on top of the attack. I never seen something like this before in my previous researches. It was the first time in which I had a real-time connection in a smishing attack, like a real keylogger inside a web page attack. You can see the obfuscated code for the socket connection and the socket connection opening. It was again an obfuscated code. I found this code like in 1,000 lines of random code, garbage code. So it was very difficult to find this connection. But again, they were using like specific socket things, like that object with the message type, data, room. So these are specific socket engineering parts. They were also using the room to somehow isolate the victims, to not have the same victims into the same room. This is like, let's say, a part in the socket I/O when you specify a room where you can interact with the client. So the server can interact with the client, can send data to the client, or the client can send data to the server. In this particular case, the server, the C2, didn't send anything to the client. I was expecting to have like a real-time change of the page, of the form, or something like that, but it wasn't the case. Only the client, only the victim sent their form data to the attacker. So like I've said, an extremely interesting trick of how real-time data persistence and retrieval could be applied in smishing or phishing attacks. Here you can see the entire object. This was put on that /API/save data endpoint every time the victim entered something into the input. This was constructing basically the object that was sent through that API. It was sent also at the final submitting of the form, and also in real time. Every time the victim enters something into the input, this object was formed again and sent to the attacker server. The address page data sent in real time. This is regarding the socket connection. You can see here the triggering that's based on that on update thing that we've seen in the previous slide. It constructs this data object with all of the form data until that moment, until the victim entered something into the screen. Yeah, so moving on a little bit to the second stage of the attack. You can see here the card page. This is more interesting because in the previous one, yeah, you have the attack moving on to your personal details. Until that moment, until this moment, all of your personal details are stolen, basically, and they will move to this next step, which is the card card phishing page. You can see also some details here, like an order number, order description, a total, just to give the victim a real thing to the page, but it's again fake. So yeah, the victim will enter he or she the card number, the name, all of the details of the card, and in the end the card details will be stolen. But again, in the background there is something more interesting, like I've shown you in the previous slide for the address page. In the background there is also an obfuscated code in the source of this page. You can see here the construction of the object. That's again very obfuscated, but I found that the details were like you can see there, the card name, card number, expiration. These are plain text. So this is a flaw in their attack, in my opinion. So yeah, once the object is formed with the on update thing, it will trigger in the background the sending of this data through the socket connection, constructing the same object like in the address page, using all of the details the victim has entered until that moment. Yeah, they have some, I think, Chinese or something like that things in there. This maybe could lead to some Chinese attackers, but I don't know. It's not something that we know until now. So this is the socket connection, the pooling mechanism that is sending the card information to the server side in the attacker part. Also the other endpoint, that's the /API/save data, will send the entire object from the local storage to the server, to the attacker server. So like two different kind of sends. Like I was thinking that they could use like a backup mechanism, because the pooling thing with the socket might be enough, but they also use this kind of API call also in real time, and not only when the form is submitted. So yeah, maybe they want to be sure that the data is sent to them. The key points of the attack, like I've said, the on update events on each input to send, and the inserted character string in real time to compromise those who only write the data but get caught because before submitting. So this is a very unusual attack in which the data is not sent just when the form is submitted is sent in real time. So it's the first time for me when I'm seeing like a keylogger inside the phishing attack. Again, the masking of the source code in order to not reveal the logic and possibly the destination of the data sent to the forms. It was a very obfuscated code. I spent some good days on this attack because the code was somehow changing every time. I don't know how they do that, just to rotate the obfuscation. I also tried to revert the obfuscation, but it was very challenging. I think they used something like a salt or something like that, because the tools weren't able to revert any any part of the obfuscated code. So it was a manual intervention, manual thing, just to understand the code, just to understand the attacker mind, just to see what's happening there in the background. Another point was using one-time link to make the analysis of the attack extremely difficult. Like I've said in the start of the slides, it's like a single shot attack, so it's not something that you could see at a victim and just use that link to inspect the attack. So you need to receive that SMS, you need to receive that page in order to inspect it, to check the attack, and to try to reverse it or just do something with it. But again, you're pressed by time, because anytime they could see that you're doing something, you're just inserting garbage data there. It's not valid data, and I think they knew that. After some days, they just closed my link. I don't know if it was like a time interval in which they closed the things, or that they tracked some of my garbage data, or some of my activities in their page. And they, like I mentioned, they stopped certain slaves after a period of time to stop exposing smishing phishing pages. So the attack, in the end, after some months, I don't know if they achieved their amount of money from the victims, but after some time, the attack was gone. I don't know if there are some police investigations or something like that in this moment or back then, but the attack somehow stopped, and nobody is complaining anymore about SMS or package delivery things. So if you have some questions. Yeah.
Do you think this was some kind of organized crime attack, or where do you think the attackers could come from?
Yeah, from the obfuscated code, like you saw there is some Chinese, Japanese, I don't know, thing code, but it doesn't mean that they are in the background of this attack. What's important to know is that it targeted a critical infrastructure system. Yeah, although it didn't um, like put down the Romanian postal service, but it used its image to achieve their goal. So I think it could be a group or something like that, because the story behind this attack is very interesting, and it's not like a script kiddie young guy that's doing something. It could be more in this, but I don't know. I'm just a researcher. Maybe the police or someone knows more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the form with the card, with the banking card data, did they validate the, for example, the length of the card number to be 16 digits, or the expiry date to be valid, or did they just accept any kind of input there? It wasn't pretty clear to me, at least.
Yeah, it's a very good question. It didn't have any validators, so yeah, if that could have some validators, maybe you would think that could be something real, because there are some validators, and also there was no autofill. So I don't know if it was like a flaw in their attack, but if there was like an autofill, like your Chrome browser will just autofill the card number and all of the things, they were gone. But they could do that, but I don't know why they didn't do that. I don't know. I don't want to give them ideas or something like that, but if this autofill worked and the form had the right IDs and the things like that, the Chrome will interpret that maybe it's a real page and just put your card details there. Once your Chrome browser, like I've said, inserted your card details, your card is gone. Even though you delete the thing, the socket is already sent, the API is made, so it's gone. But there were no validators in this case, at least in this stage.
It does seem a little bit amateurish then. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have one question for you. Why do you think they also requested things like your address and your name and not go straight for the credentials for your bank account? Do you think it's something to do with the fact that they were impersonating the postal service and maybe it sounded more legitimate to them, or I don't know, any other reason?
It could be another flaw in this attack, but I think maybe they will use also your personal details somehow. So they will separate your personal details and your personal card or something like that. They will go like in a mix, or they will use them in separate parts. This is my assumption. So thank you all. It was a pleasure for me. I think there is another question.
Yes, this attack confirmed by DNSC was in 2021.
Yeah.
Yes, but a year ago there was the same attack. Did you make any research that they were again using the same technique? Because in 2023 this attack was realized against Posta Romana by sending SMS, and the rest was the same. They used the same code, or they were the same persons by the code. Can you tell us about this?
I only know about this attack like 1 year ago, so my research is based upon what I've seen 1 year ago. So this is the source code from 1 year ago. In 2021, I think it was quite similar, but maybe they changed something. I don't know yet or now what they changed, but basically it's the same approach with a link, SMS, so it's the same logic.
Yeah, so it's not a real question from me, but I actually received this kind of SMSs, but not real SMSs, like on iMessages from emails, like 10 days ago. So it's probably still going on, but not with SMSs, but they are targeting iOS users, and they are sending this through email addresses, not phone numbers.
Yeah.
So I got actually in 1 month I got 2 or 3 this kind of messages. And what's interesting, it was on my work phone, not on my personal or something.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe they changed the technique.
Maybe.
They went well with this one. Maybe they have some amounts of money right now, and they want to change the technique because nobody is stopping them. So why not targeting another niche, or just targeting companies emails and things like that. But yeah, if you have the URLs, we can check them to start a new research. Thank you. So thanks again. It was a privilege for me.